Come on in the chat room. Spontaneous Q&A, late night. Y'all know how I like to get down. Checking in, saying what's up to y'all. Hit the like button as you come on through. What's up, HBK3Z? HBK3Z is the kind of cat that looked like he could play basketball, but he can't make a free throw and can't dribble. But he always gets picked first at the park. Niggas like, oh yeah, I got you. He be the first, second dude picked thinking they about to win. And this nigga get picked up and miss all the layups. Come on in the chat room, y'all. What's up, Red Williams? Red Williams is the nigga that lost a head-up fade to a woman. He the dude that was too drunk in front of the club and thought he was gonna hit a woman, and she went ahead and laid tips on this nigga, like got off like a 17-punch combo, and that nigga was out. And all his homeboys was filming that shit and put it up on the internet. Positive influence ain't never influenced nobody positively. Positive influence influences niggas to do drugs. What's up, Kenneth Berry? If my nigga Free Truth ain't never told the truth in his life. Free Truth be lying like a motherfucker. Free Truth be like, hey man, nah man, you good, man. Your breath don't stink. Meanwhile, the nigga's breath smell like 16 blunts. But Free Truth be like, oh man, you good. You don't trip. What's up, K Mosa? Yeah, we in here tonight. What y'all want to talk about, man? I came to holler at y'all tonight because I had a great day listening to music today. LACMA Latin Jazz, had the salsa on deck. And then I went to go see some straight ahead jazz for some brothers out of LA, out of Inglewood, called Catalyst, man. Them niggas was great tonight. And it was funny too. I was going up to buy an album from the band because they're selling vinyls. I went up there to get some vinyls from the band and just, buy some of their merch. And the motherfucking drummer knew me. I was like, he's like, nigga, you from Craig Facts. I was like, hey, nigga, I was coming up to tell you a good job. Shit. That nigga was cold on the drums. That nigga was cold on the drums. Yeah. K Musa learned how to spell from a 4-year-old. This nigga K Musa be learning how to. This motherfucker still ain't figured out Sesame Street. He be like, 1, 2, K Musa didn't learn how to count to 20 until he figured out what fingernails were. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's 10 fingers. And each finger has a nail. So that's 20. And that's when K Mosa learned how to how to count to 20. He's up to 40 now since he's included his phalanges. Les McCann's, I gotta look up Les McCann's, Wally. What's up, Don Philly? What's up, Andrew Como? I gotta look up that album. Yeah. You moved to South Carolina. Hey, Kuma, question. You gotta answer this question for me. Kuma 80s. You said from Cali, but you moved to South Carolina. How that work, bro? That's interesting to me. What city are you in? Like Charleston or some shit like that? Cause I be wondering, like, people who move from LA or California, like when they move back down south, or I be wondering how that shit go. Like, I can understand like Dallas and Houston and Atlanta, even though I would never move to Atlanta because there's so many fucking people in Atlanta. There's so many niggas from LA and all over the country in Atlanta, especially New York. I don't know why anybody want to move to Atlanta. And there's no diss on the native Atlanteans. Y'all 100. I'd hate to move to Atlanta because of all the other imports in that motherfucker. But if I were to leave LA, I could understand Dallas, I could understand Houston. But like, I can halfway understand Charlotte because there's so much opportunity in Charlotte. But like, moving to like Charleston or some shit like that, Columbia. Nigga said, Damani said, I'm high listening to Earth and Fire. Damani Vine, you on a good trip there. Shit. Salute to you, my brother. It's very, very, I love being high listening to Earth and Fire. Yeah, Atlanta's burnt out. Like, I don't know if I could move it. Like, honestly, I don't know if I could move from LA. Like, yeah, rent's getting higher. Yes, there's less and less black people here. Yes, they're going, like, LA is going all out to kick every nigga they can out of here. LA don't give a fuck about us. But it's like, man, like today, I saw the Latin jazz group at LACMA for free. And I saw my old niggas. It was cool because it's crazy how that coronavirus has aged people. Because it's like, I just turned 41 last month, right? But me and my wife had been doing like these live jazz events since we were like 18. And so my whole life, I've been the young guy at these jazz events. And now that I'm 41, I'm now becoming like the middle-aged guy. Like, I'm still younger than most of the people at a lot of these events. I'm still younger than most of the people at these events, but I'm getting up. I got gray chin hairs now. And it's like a younger class coming up under me, and it's a trip. But it's like with me being the young guy, a lot of my friends that I'm used to seeing every year at these jazz events, it's like they getting old now. You starting to see them slow down. Like, it's like they slowing down. Some of them are dying off. And like, so like today at LACMA, the LA County Museum of Art, the last time they had the Latin jazz was 2019. You know, a lot of people are moving from LA. So a lot of them old niggas, like from the age of like 2021 into like 2019, in 2019 I was 38. That was, I used to call them my smoke crew, my smoke section crew. And on break at the Hollywood Bowl, at Latin Jazz, at all these different jazz events, I'd always meet up with the same group of like old dudes. They was like in their late 40s, mid 50s when I was like 29, when I was like 22. Now them niggas is getting like into their 60s and 70s. It's like, man, why am I saying all this? Black people or people in general, man, especially if you're in your 20s and your 30s, man, just enjoy life. Like me, I know me, I'm a hard worker. I got a lot of different gigs that I do. I woke up this morning posting to my Incense and Ashtrays website. You know, I got my apartment buildings I run. I got my three different podcasts that I do. I do my cardology readings. I do it. I'm a hustling ass nigga. So for me, I be the last one that be taking the moment sometimes. Man, y'all gotta just, man, the best thing you can do in life is just, whenever you doing something, just take a moment and just be present. You really should be present the whole time you're doing anything. But if you're kind of scattered and you like being on your phone a lot, just take some time to sit your phone down and be present wherever you are. And I thought about that because I saw one of the old dudes, one of my smoke section crew fellas. And when I met him, he was in his, I was like 22, 23. And he was like in his early 50s. Now he's like in his early 70s. And I'm starting to see him slow down. And I hadn't seen him in a long time. And I was thinking like, man, I'm so glad, like, even as a young dude, when I was 23, 25, even when I was 35, even now, when I be with them old dudes, I really don't talk that much. Like, I don't say much at all. I be listening to what they talking about. How they talking about that Kool in the Gang concert they went to in 74 and how like these old brothers got different experiences living through the 70s and the 80s. And when I'm around them, I catalog these memories. I catalog these conversations. And I've been doing that. Like, I was doing that back then. That's why, like, when I talk to y'all here on YouTube, it's so easy for me to recall stuff and put things in context. Because I've always been somebody, when I'm around the elders, man, I listen, dog. I listen. And when I was in my early 20s, I would seek these dudes out because they would be smoking and I was smoking with, and they all kind of like reminded me of my dad. They was all like in my dad's age group. But my dad, he'll come out to some stuff, but he not gonna be hitting these live events as much as I do. And these old men and women just reminded me, they were just all people in my dad's era. And I spent my 20s and my 30s just smoking a joint with these old dudes and just listening to them talk. And I love that. And like, it's like now that I'm in my 40s, I feel a certain responsibility to when I talk to y'all, even if I'm talking shit, cracking jokes like I was when I started this, I feel a certain responsibility to pass down my experiences. And I know I'm not even an elder yet. Like, I don't think you're an elder till you get like in your 60s or some shit like that. I ain't no fucking elder, but I'm older than some of you niggas. And I just feel like it's important to talk like this because I think about how important it was for me when I was in my 20s and 30s, gravitating to those in their 40s, 50s, and 60s. And just listening to them talk. And just listening to people at that age just have casual conversations. That's just giving me so much wisdom. It's just giving me so much wisdom. What's up, Jeff? My man Jeff Brown in the house. Jeff is somebody I seek out. Jeff will tell you. Me and Jeff got really cool about, how long, Jeff? About what, 5, 6 years ago? Jeff Brown was somebody who, when I was in my early 20s, mid-20s, me and my friends, we would go to this comedy club in LA called the Comedy Union. The same comedy club I was telling you guys about last night. We would go to the Comedy Union regularly. And we would go there before we went out. Like, we would go, because when I was in my 20s, I used to work at this bank called Washington Mutual Bank. And Rodney Perry was my customer. And Rodney would come in regularly, and I became really cool with Rodney Perry. And then I remember when Rodney got the gig at the Comedy Union, he's like, it's this new comedy club, open it up, called the Comedy Union. I'm going to be hosting there every Saturday. Come on down. So I would go down to the Comedy Union like once or twice a month, me and my boys. We would go to the Comedy Union before we go to the club. We would go to the Comedy Union first and go to the club. And it was this comic that would come on stage regularly named Jeff Brown. And Jeff Brown had this joke. Sorry, I don't want to butcher your joke, Jeff Brown, but I'm gonna say what I remember. This is a joke that you did 17 years ago. Jeff Brown said, this is how I remember the joke. Jeff, excuse me if I butcher your joke, because I haven't heard this joke in forever. I was probably 25 the last time I heard this joke, and I'm 41 now. Jeff Brown said, now, ladies, you can't say everything is wrong with a man. He was like, because, and it was something like this. He was like, I have a Jeep Grand Cherokee, and it fits really nice in a compact parking space. But if you're trying to park this Grand Cherokee in a whole garage, it's not going to do much. Jeff, I know I fucked your joke up. All I know is, y'all get the gist of that joke. That shit used to have me dying laughing. I heard Jeff Brown say that joke a couple times, and it was one of those jokes that when I would hear him going into it, I'd be like, hell yeah, this is that joke. The underground parking, yes. And when Jeff would go into that setup, me and my boys would kind of like elbow each other, like, oh, here we go. Because me and my boys, my closest friends, we all used to crack jokes. Y'all think y'all got jokes. Y'all ain't got shit on me in my 20s. I calmed down now, but my 20s, I didn't stop. So we thought we was junior little comedians. But we all love, whenever we see like Jeff Brown on the lineup, we be like, hell yeah. We be like, hell yeah. And so, fast forward, about 5, 6 years ago, I don't know how me and Jeff Brown like started talking. We just started talking. We just kind of hit it off. And I always liked talking to Jeff. Jeff's a little, and we wouldn't even really talk about comedy. Jeff would just talk about life and situations. And I love listening to that man talk. I'm always going to have love for Jeff Brown. Because when Jeff Brown was at Dash Radio, Jeff Brown invited me to come down and do his show. And like, it's a lot of people out in this game. They say certain shit, but they don't book you for nothing. And y'all know me, I have a very dominant personality. My personality is extremely dominant. You have to be very secure within yourself to really book me for stuff. There are certain shows, I won't say the name, but there are certain shows on XM radio that they auditioned for a couple, and I was just a little bit too dominant. They weren't fucking with it. So Jeff really like looked out. Like, I appreciate Jeff Brown always. And me and Jeff don't even be agreeing on. It'd be a lot of shit me and Jeff don't even agree on. It's a fair amount of shit me and Jeff don't agree on. But there have been times that Jeff has been like, thank you, Dwan, for showing me your perspective. And there's been plenty of times I said, thank you, Jeff, for your perspective. Still don't agree with your ass. But God damn it, that perspective, it helped broaden my perspective. I don't like it's like even though you may not agree or whatever, that's irrelevant. The perspective people like my elders like Jeff Brown will give me, it'll make my perception of whatever it is be a little bigger, be a little more accurate. Doesn't matter if you agree with somebody or not. If you now have a more broad perception of your point of view, I think it's always good to get a broader perspective of your point of view. To me, that's always a win. Anytime somebody can broaden my perspective, that is a win. Yeah, man. So, what's up, Guru Cam? Guru Cam look like an Olmec model. Like when they want to make a new cast of an Olmec head, they call this nigga Guru Cam to come down to the studio and be like, sit still. We about to make an Olmec head. Sit still, nigga, sit still. What's up, Sebastian Shaw? Sebastian Shaw got caught stealing goldfish. This nigga Sebastian can't go over his auntie's house no more because he was stealing the goldfish and putting them in his pocket. He wouldn't even put them in a Ziploc bag or nothing to keep him alive. He just was taking that nigga reached for the Oscar, but the Oscar moved too fast, so he just took the goldfish and put them in his pocket. Last name first, plays basketball with a soccer ball and be wondering why his shot ain't straight. Well, that's what happens when you put your last name first, brother. What's up, Quan? It's always a big special shout out to Quan S., moderator extraordinaire. Don't piss her off, and you be good. What's up, Aries? See, I don't have any wine. I've probably drank 2 bottles of wine today. When I was at LACMA, man, it felt good seeing like them old brothers, man. Reg, it felt good because the last 2 weeks I didn't see them. So when I was there today, I was like, man, I ain't seen my old niggas. It felt so good seeing them old players. You know what I mean? And now they laughing at me because I got gray chin hairs. And they remember me when I was 17 years younger and 70 pounds heavier. Yeah, I said that right. I didn't say lighter, I said heavier. Yes. They remember me from back then. They was just tripping on me having gray hair. Like, goddamn, nigga, you got gray chin hairs. That was dope, man. But I had what's up, Mel Smith? I had 2 bottles. Me and the wife we shared 2 bottles of wine, and I probably drank a bottle and a half of that at LACMA. And then we left the Latin Jazz, and then we went to go see Catalyst. We went to go see them in Venice. It's a row of bars on Venice Beach. And we went to go see them. When I went to go see there, I had 2 glasses of wine and half of my wife's glass. So I've had over 2 bottles of wine today. So Yeah. This nigga said I put psychedelic shrooms on my pizza. Fuck you, nigga. You say where the good black women in LA? Let me, down in Southern California, let me tell you something. The black women in LA are at the live music events. If you see a jazz festival, that's where the black women are. That's where they congregate. Because a lot of black people moved out to Riverside and other areas. But they all still, even the ones that moved out kind of far, they all still come back in town for the live music events. So, brother, Southern California, let me give you a roadmap, all right? You're going to see a lot of women. They're going to have big booties. They're going to be in sundresses. And they're going to be ready. I'm married, so I can't participate. But I see what it is. You dig what I'm saying? As a matter of fact, I don't wear my wedding ring. Because when I used to wear my wedding ring to these jazz festivals, and it seemed like it put these women in hyperdrive when they see you married. So let me help you out, Southern California. If you in LA, you want to get at the women. Wednesday nights at the Hollywood Bowl, that's the jazz series. You're gonna get a lot of women there. A lot of women. A lot of black women. Beautiful black women too. Thank God I got a wife that understands. If I see a big booty walk past, I'm going to look. Thank God I got a wife that know I got her that we down, but I'm gonna look because big booty's gonna make me look 100% of the time. I have no shame and I don't hide it. Now I'm not gonna be disrespectful and gawk, but I'm gonna look. So here's another place. You got Reggae Fest coming up at the Hollywood Bowl. Reggae Fest is gonna be full of women who ready, all right? You have the Inglewood Jazz Festival. That's gonna be August 6th and 7th. It's gonna be 2 days. And the tickets are very cheap for both days. And I think that's the same weekend. The next weekend after that is the Long Beach Jazz Festival. Let me tell you a story real quick from the Long Beach Jazz Festival. This is like, I was there like, this is like 2007. So I'm like, how old was I in 2007? 26? I was 26. My girlfriend at the time, who's now my wife, went to the bathroom. We were in box seats, right? And this is box next to us with like 9 women. My wife goes to the bathroom. One of the chicks get up. She like in her late 30s. And she just slides me her phone number. It was like, I see you in a situation right here. You just call me later. I'm like, God damn. That's how it's going to be if you go to the Long Beach Jazz Festival, brother. The Inglewood Jazz Festival. Oh, then you have the Gardena Jazz Festival coming up. The Gardena Jazz Festival is always the last Sunday in August. As a matter of fact, I'm glad I said something because it reminds me, I got to get my tickets tomorrow. You're going to have so many black women in sundresses that are ready to socialize and compromise. You should be able to find a wife by Memorial Day, nigga. Labor Day, whatever the fuck day is, that first Monday in September. Yeah. LA County Fair, that already happened. They did the LA County Fair in May for the first time. Usually LA County Fair is in August, but they switched it up. They put it in May. Now the Orange County Fair is going on, and Maxwell is performing August 11th. And me and the wife will be there for that show. That's a Thursday night too, so I'm telling y'all right now, August 11th, I ain't gonna be on no damn Craig Facts that day. Me and the wife are going to the fair, and we're going to see Maxwell. Our first concert together was Maxwell, 1999, right after we graduated high school. She was going off to Duke. We was his homies back then. And I was staying home for college, and she went off to Duke. But the 2 days before she went to Duke, me and her went to go see Maxwell. And that was my first concert ever. She had been to plenty of concerts. My wife was a fucking rich kid, so she had already been to a bunch of concerts. My first one was that Maxwell concert, the Embryo Tour, August 1999 at the Universal Amphitheater. And so, anytime Maxwell come to town, me and the wife, we got to go. Yeah, Southern California, you got to go to all them jazz festivals. The women outnumber the men at the jazz festivals. Let me say that again. Because the men, for the most part, at the jazz festivals, the men, for the most part, 85% of the dudes at a jazz festival is there with a woman. You may have 15% of the dudes that aren't with a lady. They just kind of walking around and on the hunt. But 85% of the dudes are there with a woman. No less than half of the women are there with other women. The majority of women, because one woman, one man. One woman, 6 homegirls. One woman, 4 homegirls. One woman, 10 co-workers, all female. That's how the ratios work out at the jazz festivals. If it's dudes, you know how dudes are. Dudes gonna be, if a dude come, it's gonna be dude and his homeboy, and they gonna both be on the hunt. Them niggas not even gonna have a chair. They may throw a chair down just to have a space. But for the most part, dudes ain't even doing that for the most part. Dudes ain't coming with shit. Dudes is just kind of walking and meandering. The women, they're gonna be 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 deep. They're gonna have a big ass picnic set up, and they're gonna be waiting on niggas to come by. But if you one of them shy niggas, then you ain't gonna get nothing. But if you willing to say something, they'll holler. That's how LA get down. In LA, if you want a mature woman that's married, here's nothing about the jazz festival women in LA. These are the women who work for the DWP, for the city, for the county, for fucking Raytheon, for motherfucking Lockheed Martin. People don't understand. LA, a major part of LA money is the defense contracts. So a lot of your defense companies are here in LA. And those are the ones that hire black women that make like $100,000 a year. Your black authors, female authors, and lawyers, and registered nurses. Those are the ones at the jazz festival. If you go to the club, you're gonna run across a chick looking for the come up. You go to the jazz festival, you're gonna run across the woman who, she may have been on that independent shit when she was in her 20s. Now she in her late 30s and lonely than a motherfucker, and she gave that shit all the way up. She just wants somebody to love. That's who you gonna meet at the jazz festivals. What up, Legion of Knicks? Now, Catalyst is out of LA, Inglewood, and that's with a K. Catalyst with a K, not with a C. Catalyst Collective. What am I smoking on? I got a gumbo of weed right now. That's what I'm smoking on. I think I had some Master Cushion in this gumbo. I got some Jack Herrera in this gumbo. I got some OG Purple. I got like 4 strands right now, and I just kind of mixed them all together. And I got like 4 strands that I mixed all together and rolled 2 blunts with. I just smoked one. I'm about to smoke the other one in a little bit. Clinton, you went to Eddie V's? See, yeah. Eddie V's is the shit. If you know, that's where you take the woman that you serious about. Take her to Eddie V's. The bill gonna be $280 if you do it right, maybe a little bit more, but it's worth it. Especially when they got that music playing. Especially when they got that live jazz going. Shit. That salad, they blue cheese dressing is the shit. It's filled up with blue cheese or chunks. Nigga, get some of them bacon wrapped shrimps. Yes, I said shrimps. That mac and cheese, that truffle mac. Nigga, get that 64-ounce tomahawk steak. That's where you take the woman that you care about. Don't take no chick that you trying to smash, though. Let me tell you young niggas something. If you just trying to smash, no, don't do that. The max is the Cheesecake Factory. You don't take them to Eddie V's and fucking them kind of places until after you done hit a few times. I ain't know where you take some chick. That be you niggas that be them kind of niggas that be bitter with women. Man, these women ain't this. These women ain't that. Y'all be taking these chicks to these $400 ticket restaurants in hopes to smash, but you corny. And then you go around and you run around talking about some, man, these women ain't shit. It's them kind of dudes that be on that kind of bullshit. It's them kind of dudes thinking that taking a chick to Eddie V's is gonna be the reason she let you smash. No, nigga, you weird. You could have saved a whole lot of money and got turned down at Chili's with a 2 for $30 dinner, nigga, to learn your lesson. Don't take women to them kind of places until y'all already got on that level. Yeah. This nigga Legion Nick said food trucks. Nah, them food trucks be trying to hit you though. Now the taco truck, yeah. But them food trucks, like I don't know how it is where you live, but here in LA, the food trucks are like specialized in a certain thing. Them niggas be taxing. And I go because it's like a lot of black-owned food trucks out here. And like that's like been a savior for black business here in LA. A lot of like former gang members, a lot of niggas doing that street shit, they got food trucks now. But like I be going to the Blue Kitchen sometime. Blue Kitchen is a dude. He got a blue. I'm not gonna call out whatever set he from because I don't want to say the wrong set. But he a former Crip, so it's still rep. And he always got a food truck on Manchester and Western. And he got noodles. It'd be like noodles and steak, noodles and shrimp. And don't get me wrong, this nigga's noodles is fire. But when you get the noodles with the shrimp and the steak, that shit gonna hit you for $30. And when you take your woman with you, if she get the chicken one and the shrimp, that's $28. So you just spent $60 at the food truck. I'm like, nigga, I could have went to the Cheesecake Factory and got the chicken Madeira and some strawberry lemonade and some goddamn, what do you call them, the Buffalo Blast. And she could have got her salad and I would have spent the same goddamn money. But I still support because those is black men in business, and they make good food. It's great quality. So you can't eat all that shit at once with all the goddamn steak and shrimp they put on theirs. But if you get like the lobster noodles, nigga, the lobster noodles be like 40, $50. Nah. Yeah. Yeah, join the Spotify. I gotta call my sister tomorrow and see what's going on with her editing my book, man. I'm ready to release this motherfucker for y'all. Cause I think y'all need it. I need it, we need it. Tell it like it is. The art of loving communication. My methods on how to speak to your family members, your loved ones, in a constructive manner. That's what this book is about. Solutions. I can't wait till this shit come out, but it gotta be edited right. I'm not about to release no bullshit to y'all. I'm not about to release no bullshit to y'all. Oh, and moderators, please put up Jayla, the self-esteem queen. Please put up her website, Light the Mood. Her candles are the shit. As a matter of fact, when I'm done talking to you niggas, I'm going back inside and I'm lighting up this goddamn rosemary sage. No, lavender sage. That's what it is. This lavender sage candle. This is the shit. Type in my promo code WeedSmoke22 for 40% off. Y'all better type in WeedSmoke22. That's 40 motherfucking percent off. Who else gives 40% off? Jayla, nobody else. Bismarck tea drink. So this nigga drink food truck waste juice. This nigga, that's why nigga breath smells so bad. This nigga drink the waste juice for the food trucks. You nasty nigga. Breath smelling like what and the fuck? You can see if the restaurant don't have roaches, how good can a school food be? Guru Cam said I be extorting food trucks. Nah, Guru Cam. This I already start food trucks. I threatened to plaster a picture of your face on the side of their food truck, guaranteeing they will get no sales. I was like, all right, food trucks, if y'all give me no free tacos, I'm gonna put a whole bunch of big ass stickers of this nigga Guru Cam's face. Ain't nobody buying none of your shit. The only thing this nigga's face is gonna make you wanna buy is bullets. That's it. Hollow points. Yeah. How does my dad feel about me smoking? It's funny. I'm gonna tell y'all a story real quick. That's a good question. I think you meant my dad Aries, but you know my dad been known I smoke weed, but we don't ever talk about it. You know when my dad saw me smoke weed for the first time? It was 2 years ago. This shit's funny, and it's funny the way it happened. I had a fight party. It was the Tank Davis versus Leo Santa Cruz fight. I had a fight party here in my apartment, right? Who did I have here? I had Teddy Ray was here, Kamir White, Larry was in town, Larry Goodwell, he was in town. I think Precious was here, Craig was here, Charlie from Craig Facts was here. Was Brandon here? I think Brandon was here too from Craig Facts. Charlie and Brandon. Slink came through, Slink Johnson. And a few other people. They all was at my house for the fight party. My dad came too. It's for like, my dad and Slink became instant friends. And Charlie. So my dad came, and we watching the fight. I don't smoke inside the house, just for my wife. And at that same party, I have like 9 of my homegirls. Like my apartment ain't. It's a cool size, you know what I mean? But it ain't a house. I had like 25 people up in this motherfucker. And so we go to the back to go smoke. And my dad came out with us. I was like, yo, you don't smoke weed no more, sir. You stopped smoking weed back in 93 when the Teamsters and the truck drivers started testing for weed smoke. My dad smoked all kind of weed when I was a kid, but my dad's a stand-up guy he's a truck driver. When they started testing truck drivers for weed smoke back in 93, my dad just cut it cold turkey. But Kamira had my dad rolling laughing. Kamira had my dad laughing so goddamn hard, so he came out, because between Kamira and Slink, Pops was just tripping. Craig stayed in the house, because Craig don't smoke. So Craig, and plus like y'all, like when Craig ain't like on camera, Craig don't just be sitting around cracking jokes. This nigga Craig, for the most part, look, if me and Craig are talking, and this is for real, if me and Craig are talking, we talking about Neely Fuller, we be talking about like goddamn the Hannibal and the Carthaginians. Me and Craig be talking about shit like that. Or we be talking about business. Craig ain't the kind of cat that's gonna be sitting around just rattling off jokes all day. So, but Kamira, on the other hand, Kamira White, all she gotta do is talk. And it's going to be funny. Like, she just funny as hell. Like, she don't even be trying. Kamira just talks, and it's just jokes. And this nigga Slink is funny. This nigga Slink, Slink is an asshole. So Slink over the house talking about something. Hey, Dwann's pops, Mr. Brown. I'm sorry, yeah, Mr. Brown. I was gonna let you know that your son ain't shit, and I'm letting you know that you must have did it. That's nothing to you that. I think you raised him right, but he's made his own decisions to not be shit. That's how Slink introduces himself to my dad. When Slink comes, my dad don't watch no fucking Black Jesus. He didn't know who the hell this nigga was. He see this sorry ashy lip nigga coming up in the house. So this nigga Slink is like, sir, I just want to let you know that your son ain't shit, and it's not your fault. I just think that I'm like, man. My dad fell out laughing. So my dad, when we went to go smoke outside, my dad came to kick it and smoke with us. Like, he didn't smoke, but he kicked it. He just was like, man, I just want to smell. I just want to get it, remember how it smelled. And Pop kicked it in my smoke in my man cave, while me, Slink, Teddy Ray, Kamira, Larry, we was all passing the blunt. Yeah, but I won't say, Craig ain't no. Craig is a thinker. Like, Craig is a for real philosopher. Craig is a for real philosopher. Like, I go so far as to say that Craig is a for real philosopher. That motherfucker spends a lot of time in thought. really putting shit together. That's one thing about Craig. When the lights hit on Craig, like, y'all don't understand. I never knew Craig as no fucking roast me. I never watched roast me. So when y'all talk about roast me, like when y'all see Craig as a roaster, I don't see him as that. Cause I never watched the show. I see Craig as an all-around person that happens to be able to roast the shit out of people. But I see the all-around person that he is. And so like when we be out sometime and I'll see people's reaction, like, or I like today, I met the dude from the band. I'm going to tell them how good his work is. He's like, "Oh, you're from Craig Facts, man. That guy is so." And I'd be like, "Man, fuck Craig Smith. You niggas over here, man, fuck that nigga." That's the first thing I say usually when I call Craig, man, or if he called me when I pick up the phone, "Man, fuck you, nigga. What the fuck you want? Ain't talking about shit." Yeah. And Kamira is somebody you love. You ever meet Kamira? To know Kamira White is to love Kamira White. To know her is to love her. That's what I gotta say about her. She really is just fun to be around. Funny as hell. I remember it was times, this is back like 2015, 2014. We would Kamira had like a little room over here that she hosted. Man, dog. And me and Kamira have always just been friends. We've always been hella cool from day one. She had a house. We used to go to her house. Man, we'd be in that motherfucker till like 2:30, 3:30, just watching Hidden Colors DVDs and smoking and cracking jokes. Kamira was the first person to tell me about Hidden Colors. She's like, "You seen Hidden Colors?" I was like, "Nah, I ain't seen that. What are you talking about?" And then this other comic named Smokey D's, he actually gave me the DVD. But Kamira was like, "You seen Hidden Colors?" I'm like, "Nah." Man, she like, "Man, we gotta watch that." We be just cracking jokes. Me, Kamira, and Larry. This back when Larry still lived in LA. Me, Kamira, Larry. Sometimes Teddy would be there, some other comics, and we just be. Them days was fun as fuck. Them days was fun as fuck. Oh yeah, Kamira has a huge heart. Kamira, she's a sweetheart. She really is a sweetheart. That's one thing you can always, if you say describe Kamira White in one word outside of other than funny, of course I'll say funny first. But if I couldn't use the word funny, I would say sweetheart. Her and my wife is hella cool. Kamira and my wife became like instant friends when they met. Kamira and my wife, they met. Craig had filmed a bunch of, this is like 2015. Craig filmed a bunch of us. And actually, it was Big Jah. Big Jah was actually doing the filming. He was on the cameras. And it was Bullyfoot Productions with Craig. And we all filmed a special that night. I just never put mine out. It was me, this comic named Chris Sneed. Y'all might know who he is. He be doing commercials and shit now. He went to high school with me. It was me, Chris Sneed, Big Jah was recording, and Kamira White. We all filmed specials that night. And Craig was the producer. And people put theirs out, and they all did pretty good. Like, for me, mine was real good. I just never put it out. Like, I might put it out to y'all. I never put it out. Shit, the reason why I don't want to put it out now is because, shit, that was 7 years ago. I'm so much of a better comedian now than I was back then. That really made me not want to put it out. But I filmed it, but I never put it out. That's because, especially back then, I was always in my head. Nothing was ever good enough for me to put out. That's why I'll be like, when I read people's cards and I read anything that's leading towards lack of confidence or hesitancy, I generally try to tell people, don't let fear stop you from doing what you do. Because I know what that did for me. I know what allowing fear and hesitancy, I know how that held me back. So sometimes I'll be reading people's cards and I'll see that in their card spread. And in life, in cardology, like just like anything in life, there's a high and low vibration of everything. There are everything that happens to us, there's a positive outcome and a negative outcome. And whether you get the positive outcome of that card or scenario or a negative outcome, that's all dependent upon your mindset. You create your reality. And so when I read people's cards, I can look down to the month, sometimes to the day, of some things that may happen. I don't know what the exact scenario is, but I know it could be a critical scenario. And when I read that card, I can read the positive outcome of that. I can read the negative outcome of that. So that's why I try to tell people to have that mindset of self-confidence, self-love, always stay in a high vibration and have confidence in yourself to make the move that's going to be best for you. Because whenever you're in that position, whenever you're in that mindset, whenever you're confident in yourself and you put yourself in the most positive situation mentally to make the right decision, you're going to make the right decision. But if you're down on yourself, if you lose confidence, if you second guessing yourself, the decisions you make may not be the most constructive decision for you to make. Like, it's some people who filmed like comedy specials at night, that shows at night, they said wasn't as good as mine. They didn't get nearly the laughs that I got. But they ended up using that shit to like parlay into better opportunities in comedy. And while they used their set to level up in a lot of different ways, I sat on mine saying it ain't good enough. Instead of just rolling with it and allowing it to take me where it needed to go. I learned a valuable lesson over that. So like when I read people's cards, I not only read the scenarios, I use my intuition and I use my wisdom based on experiences. Oh shit, if you go this way, that might not be the best thing for your partner. But if you go that way, you dig what I'm saying? Yeah. Yeah, I appreciate that, Aries. South Carolina checking in. Tito Helper about to go. Yeah, South Carolina, that brother. About to carry water for some mules. This nigga Kirk Owen talked about that sundress song by Coco Brown. I remember that song. That shit came out my first year in college. The soul of your femininity. I'll never forget, Sundress came out at the same time as the thong song. Sundress was a cult classic. The thong song went worldwide. That lets you know right there, these 2000s is about to be full of bullshit ass debauchery. Both songs talking about women, one in a more poetic, smooth, respectful way. The other one saying, don't, don't. And guess one sold 10 trillion records, and which one sold 10 records? That should let us know this decade ain't about to be about shit musically. That was a precursor. She said Cisco's talking about his song. Yeah, King Simon dope. I appreciate that hot tub, Tony. Yeah. Yeah, you need to hear that because, it's just that, man, gotta have confidence in yourself. Cause all of that happened around the same time. It was like around the same time Craig produced that stand-up special for me. Around that same time was the same time I told Teddy no when he called me to do Roast Me. That was like all within the same like month or two. I just was not in a good space mentally. Like I wasn't feeling myself at all. So I said no to Roast Me, and then I ended up filming a special and didn't put it out. I was not in a good place in 2015 at all. Mentally, I was in a very fucked up place. And that's part of the reason why I didn't put it out. Because like, even though I know the stand-up show special that I did was pretty funny, I knew it wasn't my best. But it's like me, no matter what's going on off the stage, I know how to shut it off to perform. Like I was doing comedy for 11 months when my grandmama died. My grandmother, there's no one on earth I was close to other than my grandmother. And I was there to see her. I was there when she died. It was like on a Saturday at 4 o'clock. And I had 2 shows at night, the J Spot and at the Comedy Union. And I was able to block that shit out and go deliver 2 fairly funny shows. I say fairly funny. It wasn't the best, but it wasn't bad at all. It was pretty good. I know how to block out. Like, hell, the show I did with you niggas like 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, right when I went live, y'all know how like when I do the show on my computer, y'all know how I do the countdown like with 5 minutes, and I get like a 5-minute countdown. Right when I went live and given the 5-minute countdown, my dad called me to let me know my grandfather stopped breathing. And it was basically only a matter of time. But he tells me that after I hit go live on YouTube. And it's like 3 minutes left in the countdown. It was at 3 minutes, 50 seconds left in the countdown. And my dad called me basically to let me know my grandfather died. Hell, shit, show's on. I wasn't about to end the show. I just blocked it out of my mind for 2 hours and talked to y'all. That's all I did. I already hit go live. I'm the kind of person, I'm a man of my word. If I tell you something, if I'm going to tell you I'm going to be somewhere at 11 o'clock, I'm going to be there. It doesn't matter what's going on in my personal life. If I'm going to be there, I'm going to be there. But I didn't tell y'all that my grandfather just died, so I can get some sympathy for the show. I'm like, shit. Show's on. I think it was the one I did with Randy Short. No, it wasn't with Randy Short. It wasn't with Randy Short. I was by myself. I appreciate that. Yeah, I know y'all would have understood, but shit, it's a certain thing. Like, it's a certain thing when you put energy out there for people to receive. You gotta deliver. That's just my principles. That's a personal thing of mine. Now, if it's something that's too hard to bear, then okay, I get it. I'll do what I gotta do. Most stuff, most things, I can sit down to the side for 2 hours to do what I gotta do, and then get back to it when I'm done. Cause before my dad had given me that call, I already knew it was only a matter of time with my grandfather. I already knew it was only a matter of time because of how it all ended. I'm just glad he didn't have to suffer. So when I got the final confirmation, it was just like, hey, we knew it was coming. And let me go talk shit with these niggas. And I remember having fun doing that show. That show was fun. I didn't think about it the whole 2 hours. Well, I thought about it like once or twice. I did think about it like once or twice. But for the most part, it was like, hey, show's on, nigga. I appreciate that, Mike Shabazz. Yeah, it's just like, yeah, not talking about that. I'm a king of clubs, man. I'm a king of clubs, we talkers. I tell stuff. I like talking. I like spreading information. I have the master teacher card. I'm a Gemini, and I'm ruled by Mercury. That's three different. That's three different astrological events that point towards communication and teaching as a gift. I told you I really learned the cardology to decode myself. That's really why I learned cardology, to decode myself and to help like my clients out. I didn't think about it. It didn't really cross my mind to do readings, like just read people alone. That did not cross my mind to do until like not too long ago. But it works. Ooh, yeah, we get later into the summer. You see the moon, if you go outside right now, the moon is exactly in the middle of Saturn and Jupiter. The moon is exactly in the middle between Saturn and Jupiter. Yeah. Yeah, we do need to agree, because I'm not saying, I'm not going to act like I'm over here I just know how to block, and after I was able to block it out for 2 hours of the show. When I was done with the show and everything was over, shit, I cried my ass off. Man, I'm telling you right now, when your heart is broken, you better cry, goddammit. Don't try to hold that in. Hold it in for what? Who you trying to impress? If you feel like crying, you lost someone that's a loved one, somebody that you care about. See, me, I understand it. I have a different point of view on the afterlife than most people. I just don't talk about it much. I understand the afterlife. I get it. You know what I mean? And I also understand that I have a relative understanding of it. And to have a full understanding of the afterlife is impossible. as a human, I don't think we have the capability to understand the fullness of it. But at the same, so death overall doesn't bother me. I understand you return to source, and your next incarnation, you're going to choose that, and yada, 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 whatever. I get it. But you still gonna miss the people in physical form. You know that they gonna go back to source, and whatever happens with the gods happens. I don't know specifically. Don't care to know. I'll find out whenever I get there. That's when I'll know what happens in the afterlife. I'll know when it's my turn. Until then, we just try to understand it and have respect for what you don't understand. But even with all that, it still hurt knowing I can't just go by the house and talk to him anymore. And to be 41 years old and still have a grandfather around, that's just fucking beautiful. I can honestly say I turned 41 with my grandfather still on this earth. And he had gotten sick a few times before, but he was trudging along, like couldn't nothing destroy his ass. So with somebody being around that long, you almost get a sense to where it's like, damn, it feel like they're gonna be around here forever. Because no matter what happens to this man, he recovers. And he's good. Yeah, like when he died, he was one of the, he was recovering. But he got hit with something, got sick, and that was too much. But the thing that my grandfather went into the hospital for, at 98 years old, he was recovering. And they were like, he was like recovering faster than motherfuckers in their 50s for the thing he went in the hospital for. He was recovering like quick. Like up until like a week before he died, he's talking about moving to LA with his mother in 1937. I was talking to him about like fucking what was he doing on D-Day when Pearl Harbor got hit by Japan. He told me shit, that was the last time he went to church. That's where my grandfather was a week before he died. He just ended up getting sick while he was in the place, and he couldn't recover from that. So, not like knowing you can't do that part again, that hurts. But man, you just gotta cry and let that shit out. Shit, I honor my grandfather. Nigga, that day he died, after I got done with the show, I got done talking to y'all, I played BB King all night. The rest of the day and that night, because he loved BB King. He loved Muddy Waters. I played BB King, I played Muddy Waters. He knew Count Basie. Since I knew Count Basie was his friend, I played Count Basie. But y'all know Count Basie's my favorite. So for me to play Count Basie, you ain't said nothing but a word. I knew he was hella cool with Nat King Cole. He and Nat King Cole were hella cool. So I played Nat King Cole. And when my dad was a kid, when my grandfather would go over to Nat King Cole's house, my dad and Nat King Cole had two big St. Bernards. You know those big old St. Bernard dogs? And this is my dad was like 6. My dad and Natalie Cole would ride the St. Bernards. Like trying to race the St. Bernards while my grandfather and Nat King Cole would kick it. My grandfather knew Cab Calloway, so I played some Cab Calloway. And I did that all week, and I got it out of my system. And I haven't cried in since the funeral. No, take it back. When I found, I got that. I recorded my grandfather's last conversation, 24-minute long conversation. I didn't even know I recorded it. I found that shit, and I saw that the night of the funeral, and I played that, and I got to hear his voice again, and that gave me closure. But I don't think I'd have closure like I have now had I not cried that shit out. So I'm saying that to all the fellas, all the women, all the children, whoever you are out there. Somebody important to you transitions, Pat. Cry until you can't cry no more. That's what you got to do. You have to be genuine with your feelings. And through that genuineness with your feelings, your cries are going to transition into appreciation. But it's tough to get to that true level of appreciation and warmth without crying and letting that shit out. It's a process. You can't cheat the process. You can only cheat yourself. Grief is a process you can't cheat. Grief is a process that you have to be genuine to. If you love somebody and y'all broke up and you really thought this was the one, you truly have to allow yourself to go through the grief. Don't get into that he wasn't shit anyway, she wasn't shit. Nah, that's just gonna make your ass single again. Deal with the fucking grief. Heartbreak pain is real. That ain't nothing to laugh at. That's nothing to gloss over. Because if you don't take that time to grieve, you just gonna give that next person you with all the trauma and problems that made the last person leave you, or you leave the last person. That's what Erykah Badu's talking about in Bag Lady. It's a lot of you bag. It should be a song called Bag Lady and a song called Bag Niggas. You don't want to be a bag lady. You don't want to be a bag nigga. Niggas, you don't want to have that. But you become a bag lady when you don't confront your grief. Grief is something that you got to look in the eye. I'm telling you guys some real shit. Grief is something that you have to stare down. And you have to be genuine with. And you have to allow grief to work her magic within you. Think of grief like this. Grief is emotions. That's the wind, fire. Grief is oftentimes like a fire. Grief burns you up on the inside. But what's the beauty of a fire? Forest fires are necessary because the fires burn off the excess. It burns off and it makes a new soil. It gives the soil the vitamins it needs for the trees to sustain themselves. I was thinking about this because me and the wife, at least once or twice a year, we go to Ojai. Ojai, California is this little area about an hour and 20 minutes, about an hour north of LA. It's in the valley. Well, the Thomas Fire, I think that was 2017, 2018 was the biggest fire in California history at the time. There's since been bigger fires. But this was the biggest fire in California history. And we looked at the map of the area burned on the news made it seem like every fucking inch of that whole valley got burned in the Ojai Valley. We were just in Ojai maybe a week before that fire happened. It was beautiful. So Ojai was shut down for a while. We didn't go for maybe about a year. So when we went back to Ojai, about 9 months after the fire, you know what I saw? The only trees that burned down were the dead ones. The rest of those trees lived. They were charred. The leaves were burned. And those burns are gonna, what was burned off is gonna go back into the soil to replenish the tree itself. And we saw new buds, new green leaves budding on these trees that were burned to a crisp. Blackest crisp trees with beautiful green leaves. Most of the forest survives the forest fire. The dead trees get burned and they go back to the soil to give life to the living trees. The living trees are scarred, but life goes on. You know what I mean? So emotions are like that. Emotions burn. Emotions scar. Emotions hurt. But what do you learn from the emotions? The emotions raging, like in the cardiology, the heart cards are the emotions. Fire in the cardiology. If you look deep at the emotions and the things that burn the most, they teaching you something. It's giving you a message. And if you find yourself running across the same type woman, the same type man, if you're a woman, and you're having the same issues, and your heartbreaks are coming the same, that's because those are messages you're not listening to. When your heart burns, you gotta read the message. And the message is a story of you. If you break up with somebody, it's always you. It's them by extension, but it's always you in some sort of way. What signs did you not read? What signs did you ignore intentionally? Which ones did you miss? Why did you miss it? Why? You gotta ask these questions. And if you do that, you'll be fine. Because the only dead trees in the forest after a forest fire were the trees that were dead before the fire got there, for the most part. The trees with the good roots, they live. And if you still living after heartbreak after heartbreak after heartbreak, that means you're still in a position to learn the lesson. That's all it's about, is learning the lesson. That's why that's why I be so matter of fact when I be teaching people, talking shit and teaching and talking about certain things. I'll get straight to the point, because at the end of the day, it's all about the lesson, learning the lesson. It's not about how anybody feels. You're right, Quan. In retrospect, the shit, them flags be going off like crazy. Yeah. Hell yeah, that healing process is ugly. Yeah. Yeah, man. What y'all talking about? Yeah, you gotta stand tall. The Burke's peer review? I think it's BURKS, Burke's peer review. Some shit like that. I don't know. I haven't looked at the Burke's peer review in about 3 or 4 years. It'd be hard pressed to find that hoe available at the library. But once you read the Burke's peer review once or twice, you don't really need to keep going back to it. You see that all these motherfuckers is related worldwide. Yeah, all these world leaders are related. For those of you who don't know what he's asking, the person in the chat was asking about the Burke's peer review. If you want proof that all these motherfucking world leaders are related, go to your library and rent a copy of that book. I say rent it, because if you want to buy it, it's gonna cost around $1,000. And even if you got $200 million, I don't think that book is worth owning, because at the end of the day, they're all related. What are you gonna do about it? Nothing. So it's good just to know the information, but you said they all over the place with these comments. Burke's peer review, that's the name of the book with the bloodline of the presidents. And it's not just the United States presidents. It's leaders worldwide. Tomorrow morning around like 10 or 11, I'm gonna have Randy Short on. And he got some shit that he wanna talk about. So tomorrow Randy Short's gonna be on. Book one of my cardiology sessions next week, people. And then I'm also gonna be doing a Twitter space tomorrow about live music and about hip hop. Yeah, nigga said back to King John. Y'all niggas are stupid. What's up, Deep Impressions? Star in the house. Got custom light up ashtrays. Yeah. Yeah, I'm about to get up out of here, man. I had 2 shows. I done drank 2 bottles of wine. Been to 2 concerts, one of them in the sun. Yeah. This nigga, everybody did a good job of ignoring the commenter that's obviously on about 16 grams of shrooms. Thank y'all for that. Yeah. Get the t-shirt, get the poster, the book coming out soon. And remember, there are no perfect messengers, only perfect messages for those who are willing to pick up the game. We out.